And the burden lifted from his soul, and his wife, without his knowing it, was doing the same thing. And then he went back and conducted a memorial service for his children. Now you have no idea what this is in an Islamic culture. For the father to conduct a service in memorial of the children. The father could never do this. It would be too shattering. But here he stood next to the grave of those children, opening the Scriptures, and the place was clouded with Muslims who were friends of his, who knew him, who were not believers, and a handful of Muslim Christians. And he opened up the Scriptures and began to preach on the glory of death for the Christian. And he began to preach on absence from the body is at home with the Lord. I am the resurrection and the life. He that believes in me, though he were dead, he will live. But whoever lives and believes will never die for all eternity. And he preached the good news that Jesus Christ is a living Savior and that there's victory over the graves of that which is the fruit of your own body. And that audience disintegrated into tears and weeping on their knees, coming forward to receive Jesus Christ. You know what they kept saying? This must be the truth. No one can face death and smile. No one can stand over the graves of their children and thank God for it. Jesus of Nazareth must be God's Son. And they hugged him and kissed him. Today, you can go to Iran and see the fruit of a 20th century prophecy that began in a little church in Spring Valley, New York. You will see a Bible school in the heart of Iran that has enrolled 5,000 Muslims in a correspondence course on Christianity. The greatest single penetration of Islam in the history of the Christian church. And you will see a radio program that now preaches the gospel of Jesus Christ to Iran in their own language. And you will see other mission stations set up over the country. Great weeping and great sorrow, but Muslims all over hearing of this and coming. And he has now more than 300 converts who are out there working for Jesus Christ. They don't care what happens to them. Why? Because he's alive. He is the Son of God. I can document this to the church, the place, the circumstances, the names of the children that were killed, and anything any skeptic on earth says didn't happen. Now I want an answer, and I want it quick from the skeptics. I want to know who was speaking out of the mouth of the person that stood in that little church in Spring Valley. I don't want any equivocations or arguments. I want to know who said, "Thus saith the Lord, I will send you to Iran. And there will be weeping, and then there will be great blessing." I want to know who did this. I want to know how one person knew what the other person was saying when one spoke in a language the other one didn't know. And I want to know how you explain what's in Iran right now by some kind of rationalization. I don't want somebody to just stand up and say, "These things never happen." The Christian has to stand up and say, "These things do happen because the gifts and the calling of God are without revocation." And he still acts today to those who have the faith, the humility, and the willingness to turn and look in the direction of the cross and the Christ who came down from it through the empty tomb and who lives, that death itself may one day die. God who lives and who performs and who is here is his own best testimony. And he's giving it all across this earth and will continue to give it till Jesus Christ comes again. Yes, there are miracles. There is an intelligent author of creation. And there is prophecy. in the charisma and the power of God. And God is at work today. God help us if we don't have sense enough to see it and seek it.